Hello and welcome to this Pavement and Foundation Engineering class. It was scheduled on 16th 3 2020. That was the day of Monday this week. But for due to some unforeseeable circumstances, this class is being held right now at around 4 p.m. on 19th March 2020 on the day of Thursday. So today's topic which we will discuss, it will be about the bearing capacity, and that bearing capacity I show you this to you. So everyone can see this problem. This is a scare foundation in sand overlaying clay. These notes has been shared with you on the Google Classroom on the Google Drive. So here you can see that there is a soil. There is a two-layer soil. As you can see that it's basically a sand, and underlying there is a clay. And the water table, there is a groundwater level which is being shown. We have to excavate a foundation which is of 2 into 2 by meter, which is below the ground level. So our scale foundation can be placed over here. And here you can see that that sand layer is overlain over a clay soil. The base of the foundation is 2 into 2 meter. The depth of the excavation is 1.5 meter. And the groundwater level from the base of the foundation is at zero point 0.6 meter. The soil parameters which are given to us is Cu 75 kPa, that is kilopascals. Sand, for sand, there we have a C dash is equal to 0 and a phi dash is equal to 34 degree and gamma of 17 kilonewton per meter cube. A factor of safety for the clay layer has been given as Fs is equal to 3, and for sand the factor of safety is equal to 2. So we are asked to calculate allowable bearing capacity against a shear failure and the maximum load which this scare foundation can carry. Here we are also given some possible failure mechanisms, which are shear in sand, shear in clay, and punching the sand. So these failure mechanisms, you have already know about the bearing capacity failure mechanisms, which has been already shared with you. So I would like you to keep those failure mechanisms in mind and move forward with this question. Before moving forward, I would like to ask you to ask me a question if you have any. I can see that there are 10 people have joined this class. All the mics are muted. If you like to ask me a question, you can unmute your mic or send me a chat. I can also unmute your mic and you can ask me a question. Or if you want to type your question, you can type that in a chat bar. So I'll wait for you for like 30 seconds. So if you can ask me a question.
Okay, sir, you can carry on.
Okay. Everybody is understanding this? Okay, as we can move forward, as the first thing which we have to calculate is about the allowable bearing capacity. So if you we move back to our figure, this is our figure. The base of our foundation is in the sand layer. So we have to calculate a bearing capacity considering in mind the parameters of the soil for the sand layer. So if you move down, you can see that there is a Brinch-Hansen equation. This is very famous equation, a general bearing capacity equation. So here is you can see that it is given as Q ultimate is equal to C dash NC SC DC, whereas NC is a factor for the cohesion and SC is a shape factor and DC is also a depth factor. And that is, as you can see that it is with a all these factors are with a subscript of C. This signifies that that portion of the bearing capacity is related to the cohesion in the soil. And as you move forward after the plus sign, there is a gamma DF, NQ, SQ, and DQ. Whereas this Q in the subscript of the factor signifies the overburden of the soil layer. And as you move forward with the plus sign into the third part of the equation, here it is zero point 0.5 gamma B, N gamma, S gamma, and D gamma. So here the in the subscript, the gamma signifies the density of the soil. So as to move forward, first we have to see that the what values of these factors has to be put in these equations. You can see that we have a phi dash. So phi dash is 34 degree, as you can see above, which is given, and from a table which is already with you for finding out the factor values against the phi dash. For phi dash 34 degree, NQ will be 29.6. As I suggested earlier, it would be better if you guys are having a calculator and your like a piece of paper and with a pen with you and you are solving it. So if you are solving this equation with me, then it's better we can exchange or we can have an interactive session about what our answers are coming up or we are moving in a right direction or not, because the it's like a one way talking with you. So it's better if you tell me, are you solving it? So I can move forward. Anybody who is solving this question, or it's only me which I am solving this question? I have solved this question before joining this class. I have solved it 2 or 3 times, but it's now up to you to tell me, are you solving this question? Well, I have this scientific calculator with me, and I also have pen with me. So it's better, it's good if you solve this with me because it's a numerical problem. And the purpose of this lecture is basically we have to revise the things which we were doing in the class and we should be coming up with that thing. We will start with a new topic in the next class, but today's lecture it's a first lecture, so it's better which we were doing in our previous classes and wanted to continue in the next class. So it's better to continue it that way. Okay, I feel that people are doing something they don't want to show me, but they are doing these things as I'm telling them. So herefore, you may not get confused as we move to the next page. Here it is the phi 34 degree phi, the value of phi, angle of internal friction, effective angle of internal friction, and that is n gamma. That is a factor against 34 degree. It is 28.9, and nc is 42.9. So that's a simple thing from a table. you can calculate a value, you can see the pick a value which is against the 5. But for shape factor, that is not that simple, because it's a little bit small formula for that which we have to solve and come up with a value. So if you can see that, I'll explain it to you. As you can see, okay, shape factor SQ, for that formula is 1 plus B over L. B B over L means B divided by L into tan phi dash. And the equal to sign explains that it will be the solving of the equation, and that is 1 plus tan if you put a value of 34. B over L here it is 2, as you can see that from a previous figure. For you, I can go back. As you can see here, there is it's a square foundation, therefore length and breadth will be equal. So therefore that's why it is given here 2 into 2 meters. So when we come to this shape factor formula, here B will be put as 2 and L will be put as 2. There is a tan phi, 2 and 2 cancels out. Tan phi value is 34. If you solve this small equation, this equation, you get out 1.67. The next thing is S gamma. S gamma is equal to 1 minus zero point 0.4 B over L, another equation, empirical equation it is. So if you solve it out, it is zero point 0.6. Muzammil, I have shared these slides.
How do you do it?
If you go to the Google Classroom, there is a notes which are the bearing capacity
Shake
notes
it.
which are shared over there. You can
Well,
download them and you can see them.
your microphone. So for some reason, nobody can hear you on the other side. You've already tried unplugging and plugging your microphone back in. You made sure the microphone's turned on and so forth. This tutorial will be for you.
Ahmedabad,
So the first thing I would suggest
I think there
that
is some function on
sign
your side. That voice is coming to our meeting. I'm going to mute that your voice. If you can, if you want to ask a question, you can unmute from your side and then ask a question. To continue this class running smoothly, I'm unmuting you. Sorry, muting you. Actually, guys, I want to tell you that many of your class fellows are joining with not the official email address, but with the Google email address. So I want to tell you that if I allow you to admit into this class, the Google meeting will not allow you, because it's a paid service, Google Meeting, and it has been arranged by the University of South Asia specifically for the students of the University of South Asia. So how a Google Meet will know that you are the students of South Asia? It will only know by your email address. If you are logging in and joining this Google Meet lecture, which is our class lecture, through your official email address, you will be able to join and hear me and participate in this lecture. If you are going to join it with from your Gmail account, it will be difficult for you. It might be difficult means it will be possible for you. Google will not allow you. Even if I admit you to the class, he will, as I admit you, he will throw you out from this class. So it's better you join you from your official. If anybody of you is listening and understanding my message, kindly send this to Abdul Moiz. He is joining from the Gmail account. Okay, let's get back to our lecture from where we left. We resume from there. As you go to the SC factor, so it's another equation. It's a very simple equation. As you can see, there is an answer of 1.7. But I will recommend to you always solve this equation question or with your on your paper and tell me what answers you are getting over here. If you are not telling me, I'll be putting this question to you as an assignment, and we will be checking out if you have done it or not. I can do over here in a Google Classroom. It has the rights to me, and options to me, and also the option to you to solve your assignment on Google Classroom. Okay, there is a depth factor. For a depth factor formula, there is a condition of df over b. If that satisfies, then we have to use these formulas. If the condition doesn't satisfy, then the formulas will be changed. So you can get back to your notes that was shared with you, or you can check to the Google Classroom. The links of the notes has been shared there, and a few reference books have been also shared there for you to check over these formulas. So there is a dq formula, d gamma and dc. These are the depth factor formulas, which is for the dq for the overburden factor of overburden, and the d gamma for the soil density factor, and the dc it's for the cohesion factor, which is for the soil. Whereas in sand the cohesion is very negligible, but for theoretical purposes the formulas are given. We have to use these formulas and put the values. So as you can see that that's a graph equation which has been solved over here. The equation is written over the equation is written over the next page, which I am showing to you. This is the actual equation. As you can see that is a sand layer. For the sand, that there is no C. As you can see that in the soil parameters, C is given 0. For if we don't know, or we can check over the parameters which are given, the value of 0 put over here nullifies this part which is before this the first plus sign. So this is just cancels out. So that's why you can see that which is solved over here, it is the 0 value. And by putting
Sir,
all
kindly
the
repeat it. Sir, kindly repeat it.
Hamza, I would. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
want me to repeat this? Okay. This is the Q ultimate. Q ultimate. Its equation is given over the this page I am showing to you. This is given over here. This is a Branch Hansen general equation. As you can see that there is a equation which has three parts. These three parts are joined by the addition signs. The first part shows us the cohesion. These factors are related to the cohesion in the soil. The second parts are related to the soil density of the soil or the overburden, and the third part is with the soil density. As you can see that the C value in the soil parameters is given for the sand layer. As we are calculating a bearing capacity for the sand layer, it's been given 0. So if we put value 0 over here, so this whole part, which is the first part of the equation, this is nullifies as a 0. So we are left with the second and third part to solve over here, because here there is no factor which is 0. So that's why, if you can see over here, the first part is written as 0, then the plus sign, and then the second part. If you can see a second part, here the value is put over here, the values which have been calculated above, and the values which have been given by us in the question as a soil parameters. If we put all these values, this will be written like this. Okay. Have you understood that? If Okay, Naveen Iqbal, no problem. If there is a net issue on your side, I'm recording this lecture. This lecture will be available on the Google Drive also. You can always come back to the Google Drive and get the knowledge which you are looking for. Okay, Muzammil, you are saying that the numerical is not over there. Okay, no problem. After this lecture, I will share this numerical with you over the Google Drive. I'll check over that. Might be possible that numerical might be missing from those notes. Well, you can see over here. This numerical is already well over here, and you can see that, and it's all over. And as you can see that we calculate a Q ultimate, which comes out to be 0.08. And therefore, with Q ultimate is a value which is not always used by the engineers when calculating a bearing capacity, because it's an ultimate value, and we don't want our foundation to be designed on the ultimate value. We consider a factor of safety in this, because it gives us some cushion, so that our design is not our design of the structure is not utilizing the full capacity of the structure or the soil beneath it. We must be at some distance from the ultimate value. Therefore, we consider a factor of safety of 2. In the general categories, or a Eurocode signifies a different thing, or a British standard signifies a global factor of safety of 3. Here it is used as 2 because it's a sand. So there are less conservative values can be used in clay. Therefore, we have to use a higher. factor of safety. For a sand, therefore it is recommended to. As you can see that in factor of safety for the sand layer in the question, we are also given with the two value. For the clay, we are given with the three value, because in three clay layer there are more chances of failure, whereas in sand there are less. Therefore, the factor of safety two is given over here. And when we divide the Q ultimate with the factor of safety, we get the Q allowable, which is QABC, allowable bearing capacity, also known as. So we get this value, Q allowable. And as you can see that that is a QN, capital QN, that is a net bearing capacity. For calculating a net bearing capacity, you multiply the dimensions of the foundation with the Q allowable and you get the net bearing capacity. That net bearing capacity is useful for the basically we have to, as you can see that that's not a net bearing capacity, that is a net load that is coming from the structure and will be put over to the foundation, and foundation will transmit it to the soil. So that is basically we are calculating. The first part we have calculated liable bearing capacity against a shear failure. In the second part we have calculated a maximum load which a foundation can carry, and it will transmit it to the soil. So here over here you can see that here we have calculated a Q allowable, and in the second part we have calculated a net contact pressure. You can say that it is a net contact pressure, and to calculate that you just simply multiply the dimension of the foundation with the allowable bearing capacity and you get the net pressure which is being carried by the foundation and transmitted to the soil. Have you all understood that? Sayyid Abdul Moiz, I think you have not connected from
Yes,
your
sir.
official email account. Uh, I recommend you to, for in the future, you connect with your official email account. So it's better. We may not feel any hindrance because past few minutes ago, couple of minutes ago, you were connecting and disconnecting. Okay. So let's move to the clay part. As you can see that that is in the figure over here, which is shown in the clay portion. There is a clay. Check if the zone of influence extend to the clay. The zone of influence mean the zone of the stress which may extend to the clay. So how much it will extend. As you can see that stresses in the soil are always transmitted radially. As you can see that in this trapezoidal fraction, as we are seeing this in a 2D way, not in a 3D. That's why we will draw these lines. And you already know that have you have studied in the geotechnical engineering too, the stresses below a point or below some structure. As you can see that this is this portion which I am showing you by the cursor. It's the portion which is direct beneath the foundation, base of the foundation, and the portion which is extending to away from the base of the foundation, but it is beneath the base of the foundation. You it is its dimension is calculated by d by 2. It will extend from the point at which the base of foundation ends to up to extent which it will have its influence zone. It will be d by 2. D by 2 will be the depth, which is basically d, which signifies the influence zone which is extending beneath the base of the foundation. That depth d is divided by 2, or you can say that taken as a half. It will show you that it is say, up to this dimension it is extending away from the base of the foundation. It will be on the both sides, as you can see over here. So to calculate the overall length of this influence zone from the base beneath the base, because there's a two bases. First base is of the foundation, and the second base is of the influence zone. As you can see that where my cursor is moving at the base of the influence zone. As you can see, the formula for calculating the base of the influence zone will be b plus d. That will be d by 2, d by 2, b plus b will be the total length, b that will be 2. And if you calculate that 2 by 2, 2 by 2, d by 2, d by 2, it will be 2.6. And that D is also given to you in the question. That D is, we can check that if data is given or not, or if it has been calculated. Let's see. It is given 0.6 meter. As you can see that in a question, that is the extent of the influence zone below the base of the foundation is given, that is 0.6. It is equal to small d. As you can see over here, d is equal to 0.6 meter. So overall, that is the df. As you will, the df that is calculated, because before that in the sand layer, that df was 1.5 meter, because that is signifies the depth of the foundation. However, if we in a clay layer, if we extend our influence zone of stress, and so therefore that df will come out to be 1.5 plus zero point 0.6, yeah, that will be 2.1 meter actually, if in a case of we are extending our influence zone of stress in a clay towards the clay layer. And for a clay, these are the undrained conditions, because you know that sand is a free draining material, whereas clay is not as free draining material. It is there, the conditions of undrained conditions exist there, because of the fact that clay requires time to dissipate water under distress. You can go through the I would like you to, I recommend you to go to the method or topic of consolidation, which in detail uh, tells you know how of what are the undrained conditions and the drained conditions. And for this, for undrained condition, we have a phi value of 0, and we are having a 0 value. So therefore, our equation will come something like this, because the Cu and Nc factor will be taken as a common, and we will get the 1 plus Sc dash plus Dc dash and plus sigma V dash. That sigma V is basically the overburden factor. That is a vertical overburden factor. We will be getting this. And let's see, is it solved on the next page. As you can see that here the S dash C, the factors will change, because SQ is equal to DQ is equal to 1. And S dash C will be 0.2 B over L, that will be this. And DF by V, you have to check for that. And you have to check for that, will be B will be there, will be 2.6 meter, because now you have your dimensions will change. Dimensions will change because you are taking an influence zone. Now your df will be changed, your b will be changed, therefore you will be putting over there, because you are extending your base to the clay layer, to the top of the clay layer. We are not extending in terms of the excavation. We are, please mind it, we are not extending in terms of excavation. We are extending this for the stresses zones extending to the clay layer. Have you got that? Okay. Any question? So I can move forward. So I can move to the end of the question. Any question? Any question from this part, from where the my cursor is moving on from this part? Okay. So we have the equation of a QF, which is written on a previous page. If you put all the values which you are calculating from this small empirical equation, you put all the values, you get a QF, which is the bearing capacity at failure, at is 622 kPa, and you divide that QF with the factor of safety to come out with the Q allowable, it will be 207 kPa. And that is for the shear failure, Q allowable, that is for the shear failure in the clay. And the effective area of the foundation, if you are calculating the effective area of the foundation, as your B and L will be increased, so therefore your B and L are 2 into 2, but if your that is increasing because of the influence zone is extending to the top of the clay layer, that will be 2.6 into 2.6. On both sides D will extend, as we were seeing in the 1D manner, in the 2D, or sorry 2D. So therefore both the dimensions will increase. That's why that effective area of foundation will be 6.76 meters square. And for the Qn, for the maximum load with that the foundation can carry, that formula will be same, because B into L into Qa, okay, which we have used in a previous for the sand layer. That will be this formula, and you will get this carrying capacity. Okay. And the third part of our question was for the punching failure. For a punching failure, we have to calculate the bearing capacity effect on the punching shear failure, because there is a sand. There is always a chance of a punching shear failure. There is no chance of the general shear failure. In general shear failure, the soil from the sides of the ground level bulges out. In a punching shear failure, the sand just settles down and there is no bulging on the sides of the ground level away from the formation. So herefore, if you can see this figure, there is a excavation shown in a sand layer, and there's a clay layer, and there's a groundwater level. And you can see that at the base of the foundation, there is a overburden pressure, which is considered the top of the layer, because there is below that base of the foundation, this is the influence zone. In this, we are expecting a punching shear failure. To calculate a punching shear failure in this zone, there is a top, the layers are divided in a top and bottom layer, as you can see in this figure. There is a top layer which is named as C sigma V top, and there is a bottom layer which is named as sigma V bottom. That bottom layer is actually the top of the layer, and that sigma V top layer is actually the base of the foundation, base of your foundation, which you for which you have excavated a soil. And for the punching shear failure, we have the formula of QFP. Basically, it's the punching P is for the punching shear failure, and F is for the failure, and that is Q is for the load, which will be the maximum load at the point of the punching shear failure. And the equation for that is C dash plus sigma N dash and tan phi dash. And for that sigma H, if you could know that that is the coefficient of earth pressure. Coefficient of earth pressure formula is always K naught is equal to sigma H over sigma V. So therefore, if you like change it around, you get this formula sigma H is equal to K naught and sigma V. Right, you already know that. If you put that for formula for turnaround equation over here, you will get this equation like this: C dash plus K naught sigma V and tan phi dash. So to do this, to put these values, because we got the value of sigma V and sigma V dash top and bottom. So here we have to take the average sigma V dash at the center of the layer for the punching layer. So in order to calculate the average value of the sigma V, you first calculate the overburden pressure at the bottom or at the base of the foundation. You got the DF, you got the gamma, and then you extend your to calculate the sigma V at the bottom or the top of the clay layer, you extend, change your DF value, that will be 2.6, and you got the gamma, that will be same soil parameter as for sand, that given over here, that will be same. Only the value that will be changing, that will be DF value in the overburden formula. You will be getting that value. And from that, you get the top value for the sigma V and the bottom value of the sigma V, and you take the average of those two values and you put that value in this equation. Or if you don't want to put, it was written over here like QFP to B plus L D C plus 0.5 sigma V top plus sigma V bottom and K naught tan phi divided by area of the foundation. Basically, it's an empirical equation. You can put a 0.5 here. It is signifying you the K naught factor. C dash is over from there. Sigma V and sigma V bottom is this value, and basically it's K naught, sorry, 0.5 is a factor over here, and K naught tan phi area of foundation. If you put all this value and you get the punching shear value of the 11 kPa, so this is your value of the punching shear failure. Any question over here for the punching shear failure? Okay, let I conclude my class because it's getting over the time. So as you can see that you have got the punching shear failure, then you calculate a D by B, and when you calculate a D by B, it's less than 1 because of the fact that you have to again calculate a D factors, and that factors has to be put in this QF, and that is QF for the shear. And when you calculate the complete QF will be QFP for the punching shear failure, and that for the QF for the shear failure. And when you put over these values and divide by factor of safety, you get this value, and from that you calculate a maximum load. So basically these are the summary of our loads which we have been calculated for a scale foundation, which we are constructing in a layer of a sand which is overlain of the clay layer. A shear in sand, that will be this value, and the shear in clay, it is this value, and the punching in sand is coming out to be this value. These values are basically the maximum loads which will be carried by the foundation. So as you can see that, so you can also make a graph over here like this. As you can see over here, there is a graph. These values are over here. Then you are extending your influence zone. It will be over there, and then clay, and then it is also extending over for the punching thing. Any question, class? If you want to ask any question, you can ask me, because I'm now concluding my class, and this is the summary which you have to make over there. Actually, Muzammil was saying at the start of the lecture, in those notes, these slides were missing. Actually, if you check over there, there are the notes with the name of bearing capacity notes. In those, there is a PDF. These are PDF file. You can see a page number 10. This question is available there. I'm actually I have seen to the my monitor. I've seen that I'm open. I have opened those notes from there, and I'm like teaching you from there. Muzammil, can you see that?
Sir, I think it's another example determine the growth and net foundation pressure for the data shown in figure.
Actually,
It's
the
total slides and only one example is there.
that starts from the page number 7 and ends at the page number 12.
Yes.
This is the same example which I have taught in this lecture. This is present over there. If you are asking for more examples, I'll share it with you. I have students, if you can see that I have this book shared on the Google Drive with you. That name is Foundation, Principles of Foundation Engineering by Baraja M. Das. Can you see this book?
Sir, let me check, please.
This is shown over your screen. This is Principles of Foundation Engineering by Baraja M. Das.
Okay.
In here at the chapter number 4, this is the shallow foundation ultimate bearing capacity. You can go over here. It's the already the same concepts which we have already studied, but in a little bit some more technical manner shown over here. You can study about the ultimate bearing capacity. You can study about like this mod of the bearing capacity failure, and with this the settlement failure. And you can always see that there's some empirical graphs given over here, like there is something mod of foundation failure in punching shear failure, local failure, and general shear failure. You can see that with the respect of relative density and df over b. But for you, the part which you have can study, that this is the Terzaghi bearing capacity theory. It is written over here
Okay.
in a more detailed manner. Uh, as you can see that it might be a it might be more mathematical form which you have not studied previous like subjects, but it's good for you to go over here. The formulas are the same. These mathematical form are basically the more derivation given over here from how these equations come out and how these equations
Yeah.
are elaborated or derivated. So there's a formula over given over there for the square foundations and for the circular foundations over here on this page number 164. And the factor of safety has been discussed in detail here. Uh, but it's always good if you can go back to your previous lectures or the previous subjects. You can check over there. You can go through them. You can go through them and you can
Okay, sir, we will read inshallah. And sir, one thing more is we have just picked the formula from there, or derivation is important for us. Sir, kindly unmute your. Sir, your mic is off.